Hi there, welcome back for video session number 4. Today we're going to be talking about the circle of fifths. The circle of fifths is a way of organizing all of the scales that are built on all of the 12 chromatic tones of our scale. What does that mean? As we know, there are 12 tones from one C to the next C, from any octave to its next octave when you include all of the half steps, which is a chromatic scale. So we might have a scale built on C, then we have C sharp or D flat, we have one on D, and then E flat, E, F, etc. And so the circle of fifths is a way of organizing all of the scales built on these tones of the chromatic scale. And we've discussed all of this about key signatures in the other sessions, but now I'm going to show you how we can organize those in a way that makes it really easy to be able to identify all of our, identify what this looks like in an orderly fashion. So I'm going to turn this camera around and see if we can start to write these key signatures out on our table of circle of fifths and show you how that works. It's in a clockwise fashion, if you can see this. When our first scale that we start with is C. And C is, as we know, C has no sharps or flats. So that is our first key, no sharps or flats. Now, why is this called the circle of fifths? Because we move in fifths. So our next one, as we discussed earlier, a fifth up from C is G. And we know that G has how many sharps? G has one sharp on the F line, correct? Okay, now we're going to go up another fifth. And when we go up another fifth from G, we now land on D. How many sharps did we say D has? Well, we always know we start with the very first one, which is an F. If we go up a fifth from that F, we come to C sharp, correct? Okay, now we're going to go up again from D. Here we go up to A. That's a fifth up from D. When we get to A, we have F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp, correct? All right. And then the next one we're going to go is when we go up a fifth from EA, we get to E. E is now going to have 4 sharps. We're going to keep adding. We have our first one, F sharp, then we have C sharp, then G sharp, because we're adding a fifth. What is a fifth up from G sharp? D sharp. Now that's the key of E. If we go up a fifth again from E, we come to B. B now has F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp, because each time, as you remember, we are adding another sharp, right? Okay, next after B, let's go up another one. We're going up a fifth from B, and we come to F sharp. Okay, this one gets a little smaller. So when we get to F sharp, we have F sharp, go up a fifth to C sharp. We always are going to have the ones that came before. So we had already F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, and now we're going to add a fifth up, which is E sharp. And then our last one will be C sharp. Here we go. When we go up a fifth from F sharp, we get to C sharp. And in this one, we have F sharp, C sharp, just like we've had before. As you recall, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp, and now we're going to add, what would be the last one? B sharp. That's 7 sharps in that key, believe it or not. Okay, now we could keep going and it would get really crazy because then you'd be adding double sharps, etc. So we're not going to do that. We're now going to go back and we're going to go to, this is in the wrong place right here, sorry. Let's move this over where it belongs here because I'll show you why. Okay, so now we're going to go to the flats. We're going to go back to C again. We know that the key with one flat is the key of F. We determined that when we wrote out the F scale, and we said F has one flat, correct? Okay, from F, now remember we're going back, we're going to count our flats. What's the one with two flats? Okay, we go B, and what is a flat, a fifth below B flat? It is E flat, correct? Now, when we go backwards, while we count our flats a fifth apart, we're actually going to count backwards what key we're in a fourth from, if you think down, okay, never mind. So what is a fifth down from F? We have B flat. There are different ways of thinking, and I don't want to get you confused. So now we have B flat and E flat. So if you go down a fifth from B flat, you get to E flat, correct? So let's add those. We have B flat, E flat, and A flat. I hope you can sort of see these. Okay, what is a fifth down from E flat? We have A flat. So we start with our first three, B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat. I think we wrote that one out before. Okay, and on the next one, we're going to have D flat, which is actually going to be the same thing as D sharp, but with flats. And what this means is when we have the same note with two different spellings, we call that an inharmonic spelling. So we have already determined that this key is C sharp, but it also is D flat. So we're going to have our B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, and now we have one more flat. A fifth is G flat. So while we do play pieces in C sharp, we will also play them in D flat, which is written on the same note. But if you notice, C sharp has 7 sharps, but D flat, when you do it, arrange it from D flat with the correct configurations of whole steps and half steps, it will have 5 flats. Okay, now we're going to go from our D flat. Something got messed up here. From our D flat, we're going to go to G flat because that is a fifth down. Okay, so we're going to have G flat right here. Okay, now we're going to put our flats on. We start, of course, with B, E, A, D, G, and now we're going to add, what is a fifth down from G flat? C flat. As you notice that this key of G flat is also the same as F sharp. And if you think about those notes, if you find F sharp and you find G flat, they are the same. Now we have one more, and that is called C flat. So if we write out our sharps and flats, starts with the same 6 as before. We have B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, C flat, and then what is a fifth down from C flat, from C? F. So now we have 7 flats. Now if you want to look, for instance, and see, this one goes right, that one's wrong. It goes over here. Sorry, we're over here, F flat. Okay, so if you want to figure out the way that we talked about how to determine what key you're in, for instance, in this one, you can go to the next to the last flat. We have B, E, A, D, G, C, and F. That's 7 flats, but if you want to determine what major key it's in, you just still go to the next to the last flat, which is C flat, and that's your key. You can do that with any of them. If you come over here to D flat. Let's see if that works. D flat is B, E, A, D, and G flat. There's our D flat right there. So how does this work? Can you see how this could be an easy way to figure out what key you're in? You start with C, and each one going up a fifth adds a sharp in a certain order. With the flats, we go down a fifth, and each one of those adds a flat a fifth below. That tells you what your order of flats is, and so it's a very easy way to learn the sharps and flats. This is a good table to actually memorize, and people who compose music often refer to the circle of fifths when they are composing their music. Next week we'll be talking about how these major keys actually relate to the minor keys and share common key signatures. Alrighty, see you next time. Bye.